Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're back with the Dark Elves, going to be taking a generic Supreme Sorceress up against the Greenskins. So let's go ahead and take a look at the army compositions. So, the Supreme Sorceress here got Lore of Death today. We've got Spirit Leech and Doom and Darkness. My idea here was to drop an Overcast Doom and Darkness to help break enemy leadership. Unfortunately, I actually forgot to bring a terror-causing unit, so it's not going to be as useful as I would like. Probably would have liked to have brought Soul Blight as well, as I do have two Sisters of Slaughter, and that Soul Blight can definitely help them trade more cost-effectively against things like Black Orcs. Also got Blades of the Blood Queen here in the center. Front line of Dread Spears with the Hellbrunei out to one flank. We've got 4 Black Cart Corsair hand bows. These guys are going to be pretty good against the Greenskins as well. And we've got a couple units of Dark Riders. One with crossbows, one without. And we've got the Slaanesh Harvesters Regiment of Renown. So for the Greenskins, we've got Morgoth's Mangy Marauders. Wurzag's going to be leading the force here, who's probably the most competitive Greenskin Lord right now. Also got Goblin Big Bosses, 2 of them. Front line is going to be Black Orcs with Biggins out to the flanks and a single Nasty Skulker in the center. Got a Gobbo firing squad and some more Gobbos out to the flanks. He's also got 2 Orc Boar Biggins with 2 Goblin Wolf Riders, each group out to each flank. Without further ado, let's go ahead and kick the battle into full gear. We'll watch as things unfold here. So, yeah. First things first, I'm going to be trying to win some kind of cavalry engagement. If I can force these Orc Boar Biggins into sort of a pitched engagement, or I can get some favorable support, like with these Doomfire Warlocks and more, we could potentially have a very good situation. I'm also going to go for it and maybe start dropping some Spirit Leeches on Wurzag. Obviously, none of the Greenskin Lords have self-healing or magic resistance, so all of them are relatively vulnerable to being Spirit Leeched. But, yeah, these Mangy Marauders are going to pull up and try and fire off some shots at the Supreme Sorceress, but my Dark Rider crossbows are in range here, so they're going to take some fire in return. And the Mangy Marauders don't have a whole lot of HP. They're a very good unit overall, definitely an auto-pick in any matchup, but you do need to be a bit careful with them. They don't have a whole lot of HP. They can fall over pretty quickly. But, yeah, Handbow's also kind of moving forward, doing some skirmishing. Most of my opponent's mobile forces are now concentrated over on this side, so I'm going to try and force a cavalry engagement over here because I've got these Black Arc handbows on station. We've got the Dark Riders and the Slaanesh Harvesters. Feeling pretty confident that we can win a pitched cavalry engagement over on the side here. So we're going to do just that. Go ahead and get these guys charging in. I don't know if I actually dropped the Word of Pain. Ooh, it looks like I'm actually going to get charged here with the Slaanesh Harvesters, so that's not too great. But we do have the handbows still on station, and meanwhile over here, Sisters of Slaughter getting into the main line of the Orcs. Sisters of Slaughter, especially on the downhill, will just cut through Biggins, no problem. Over here on this side, these Hogs and Wolves getting interrupted by Dread Spears. This is pretty much a best case scenario for me. The Wog being popped a little bit late there after a lot of the Greenskin units are already in the fight, but it is still going to be useful at this point. Also, looks like something being dropped here in the center. Here we go. So these Black Orcs definitely got a whole lot of melee attack. You can hear that Spirit Leech starting to be dropped on Wurzag there. Blades of the Blood Queen are suffering pretty badly, these juiced up Black Orcs, but they are trading pretty effectively as well. We've got the handbows in the back line still firing away, and yeah, my Overcast Doom and Darkness obviously not breaking anyone off right now. We did manage to beat these Orc Boar Biggins and those Wolf Riders in the back line with the support of the handbows, so now the Slaanesh Harvesters just finishing them off. In this other back line here, Dark Riders getting tangled up with Wolf Riders, and with the missile support, I'm able to win that engagement. These handbows are now going to be turning their attention to the Boar Biggins, who only have 60 armor, so they will take quite a bit of damage there. You can see Murderous Prowess now popping off map-wide. These handbow's going to interrupt the firing of those Gobbo Archers, and then immediately get back into the rear of these Biggins here, try and cause a little bit of leadership issues. And yeah, the Dark Riders with the handbows, or repeater crossbows, in fact, are still relatively healthy in the backline. Brain Burst going down for my opponent. Sisters of Slaughter have made it all the way to the backline here, going to be mixing it up with these Gobbo archers, and I really like Sisters of Slaughter in this matchup. The only real Dark Elf infantry they struggle, or sorry, Orc infantry they struggle with is Black Orcs. Other than that, they trade very cost effectively with pretty much all the Greenskin infantry, so I quite like them in this matchup. You can see we're able to get our handbills all the way around my opponent's rear lines here, so at this point the Greenskin lines are crumbling very, very quickly. The balance power is quickly shifting in my favor. Wurzag going to start taking continuous Spirit Leeches here, and all of a sudden he's in a very dangerous situation where he's got handbows on multiple sides. Because the handbows can shoot in 360, Wurzag doesn't want to be anywhere near them, especially because I've got a couple units up here, one unit here, and another unit behind him. We're going to be able to turn around with all of them, drop a Spirit Leech, and then focus fire here. It looks like they're actually shooting at those Mangy Marauders for the moment, but we are going to get an order on Wurzag himself. All the arrows coming in. He's going to try and get into some of these units and start mixing it up, but between the Spirit Leech and the fire coming in from those other handbows, it's going to be too much, and Wurzag is going to give up the fight. With him routing, these other units will rout. There are still some Black Orcs holding out here against Sisters of Slaughter, but they won't be able to hold against everything that's left. So yeah, just by leadership, the Dark Elves are going to carry this one. You can see Wurzag shatters, and then the rest of the army shatters. So, well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. Super fun battle in terms of the, yeah, the Dark Elves are one of the few factions I think that can just go heads up with the Greenskins like that. Not a whole lot of other factions can, but Sisters of Slaughter, both 149, 136, very good stuff. 64 on Blades of the Blood Queen. They were fighting primarily Black Orcs, who got super juiced up by that Wa and that Here We Go, so they actually did quite well for themselves. 61 on these Dark Riders, 68 on the Slaanesh Harvesters, both did quite well. Handbows were also key in supporting some engagements. Dread Spears did okay, but overall, definitely Sisters of Slaughter are MVPs for my army. For my opponent, Black Orcs did pretty well in certain situations. Wurzag himself did provide some nice buffs, but at the end of the day, getting caught out by all those handbows was pretty rough. My opponent just didn't really have too many answers with the Sisters of Slaughter. Honestly, probably should have brought a little bit more of a skirmish build. Like, when I'm playing against the Dark Elves, just because they don't have the best cav, if you were to invest a little bit more heavily, I'd probably cut this entire Gobbo firing squad on foot and go with mobile skirmishers, like lots of Spider Riders. That'll also help you win a mobility engagement more decisively, because if he had some Spider Riders and just more mobility, he would have been able to beat down my Doomfire Warlocks and Dark Riders without too much issue, and then you can kind of just shoot the Sisters of Slaughter and other low armor, high value units down. The Hammer of Gork can actually be pretty solid in this matchup as well, if you can apply that blind, and of course does good damage to high value infantry. Yeah, just kind of my thoughts. But overall, very fun matchup still, very dynamic matchup. Both factions can go a number of different ways, so it's been fun to explore. I do like the Supreme Sorceress as a really cheap option. She allows you to go super wide with your army, so if we actually take a look at the custom battle screen here, I believe she's like something like 1,200 points in the guides I brought her in, so if we have a look in a little bit more detail at the Supreme Sorceress here. Apologize about my voice, guys. I'm a little bit under the weather, but bear with me here. So obviously you can take a number of different lores of magic, but with what I did with Lore of Death, she's up on the Dark Pegasus, so that increases our cost a little bit here, but I cut Fate of Buna, Purple Sun, probably keep Soul Blight and Doom of Darkness and Spirit Leech. You can maybe cut Soul Blight, so in the guys that I brought her in that specific battle, she was only about 1,300 points, which is pretty solid, all things considered. That's not very expensive at all, especially for a Dark Elf Lord. What that allows you to do is go very wide with your army with a good amount of elite units. So you saw with my army there, I had 3 elite infantry, as well as, you know, a kind of mid-tier. I guess these guys are a high-tier light cav, but a mid-tier cav nonetheless, with some other supporting elements, and yeah, I was able to do pretty well with that. Let's see, we also had some Dark Riders in here, some Dark Riders with crossbows, and of course the handbows here. But yeah, overall, I really like the Supreme Sorceress. If you want to take Shadows, for example, she'll also be relatively cheap as well. She has a lot of mount options too, so depending on the matchup, you can go with a few different things. If you really want her to be a melee powerhouse, you can go with the Black Dragon. It does make her quite expensive, which is kind of my idea of her whole point, is being cheap. But if you go with the Pegasus, for example, my typical spell loadout for Lore of Shadows is these 3, Melkoth's, Enfeebling Foe, and the Numeral Pendulum. You could also take this Arnsapal's Black Horror, which is her item. It's a wind spell, very slow moving, but it does cause a lot of damage. So if you're in a very pitched frontline engagement where you don't think your opponent will necessarily move away or see it, it can do a lot of damage, but it does move pretty slow, so I don't always take it. It's a relatively expensive item too at 200 points. So yeah, Shadow Sorceress would be relatively cheap as well. Beasts, I don't often find myself taking Beasts, but I guess if you wanted to, you have the option. Death is a really useful one. Fire, you know, you could take a Fire Supreme Sorceress. I guess that could be fun in certain matchups if you just maybe put her up on the Dark Pegasus. Maybe you're fighting off against Norska, for example. Then she's going to be relatively safe up in the air. You could even take Fireball because it's good from a high angle, and that's going to be good at popping those units which are weak to fire. But yeah, again, the best thing about the Supreme Sorceress is that she's cheap. She's dirt cheap compared to the other Dark Elf Lords, and she allows you to take your Caster and Lord all in one, so you can really focus the rest of your funds into bringing a very, very wide and skilled army, you know, with quite a few elite units. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button, so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you once again, and we'll see you next time.